Hey guys, welcome back. So you see before you here a herd of tiny turtles. And we are going to be making our hurdle turtle. Yeah, hurdle turtles. Anyway, we're going to be making these guys today. Just, quick, easy, simple little project. But I have an idea for them, which will probably be in another project, but for now, tiny turtles. So I have 1.5 ounces of my Bond Crafter 1-to-1 here. And what I am going to do is I am going to add in 2 of my Ranger alcohol inks in Glacier and Mojito. And I'm going to progressively add the colors as we go, so we have turtles that are in the same color range, but different colors. So I'm going to start with 4 drops of Glacier. And get that mixed in. And this will give us our first color. Now, I'm not entirely sure how big these little turtles are. I can't remember, quite honestly. But I think they're about maybe a 1/2 ounce each. That's why I made 1.5 ounces. Just want to get my color mixed in here nice and evenly. And this, is just a very, lightish blue color. And then I forgot, I want to spray our little turtle dudes with some alcohol because I just want to make sure that the resin gets into their little heads and little feet with no problem. These are such cute little guys too. I got it from Amazon. Of course, links for everything will be in the description. So I'm going to make 2 of them in this color. Alright, so that looks good. So next what I'm going to do is add some of my Mojito. I'll add 1, 2, 3 drops of Mojito. And get that mixed in. And this will give us more of a bluey, turquoisey color. It's a little more on the green side, which I'm happy with because I love this color of Mojito. As I've said in prior projects, this is my favorite green alcohol ink. So I'll get these little guys in the middle filled in. Make sure I get all their little toes and head, shoulders, knees, and toes. Grab a paper towel here, clean up my mess. And then for the last one, I'm going to add more of the Glacier. 1, 2, 3. Get that mixed in and see what we're looking like. I think I want it a little more glaciery. One, two, three. And I always open my alcohol inks off to the side, so just in case they decide to spit or have any little nibbly bits, little dried nibbly bits around the edges of the spout, it doesn't get into my resin or my mold. Alright, so I think that's a good color. But it looks like we got a drop in there anyway, but that's okay. It's just one. And it'll blend in nicely with the rest of the color. All right. And the foot needs a little bit more. All right. So that looks good. Clean up that little guy here a little bit. So there we go. We have our little herd of turtles all colored in. Now I do have some resin left over, so I will find another project to put that in, but in the meantime, we're going to let these guys sit and cure up, and I will see you when it's time to demold them. See you then. All right, it's time to demold our little turtle friends. Look at them, so cute. Hello. So there's our blue. And our green, light green. And then our turquoise. And these are matte, but you could always, you know, dip them in UV resin and make them shiny if you wanted to. All right, so what I've decided to do is I'm going to make some coasters with these little guys. So I have my hexagonal coaster mold set thing here that I've had forever. If I can find the link, I'll put it in the description. And I've got 1 ounce of my Bondcrafter 1-to-1 and some decorative sand that I got from Michael's craft store, but you can find, you know, sand pretty much anywhere if you want to find it. So I'm just going to add a bunch of sand to my resin. And get that mixed in to where it's nice and slimy. Enough sand. Still too liquidy. I want a fairly muddy consistency, so not as much resin floats to the top. But if it does, then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to add a drop of sky blue, just to give it a little bit of a tint. And then I'm also going to add some of my homemade rainbow sparkle sauce, which is just a rainbow alcohol ink that I made. 4, 5, 6. I'm going to add 6 drops of that just to give the sand a little bit of personality. And that way, if any of the resin does float to the top, which, you know, normally it does because sand is heavy and it will sink, then at least it will be fancy sand, right? We all love a good fancy sand. Get my mold, which is very mobile now because it's got sand on it. And I'm just going to split this up between the 2 molds. I mean, it doesn't really matter if there are bubbles in it because, you know, water, but still. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just press down our little turtles into ran away from me. Get them down inside of there. And a little turtle circle. Ooh, I have an idea. Speaking of fancy sand, we're going to use some of our iridescent tiny stars from BB Craft. Since I don't have any starfish, we'll cheat. How's that sound? Sounds good. Yes. Here we go. Fancy sand. And I think I do have, yeah, I do. Some tiny shells. Sorry about the beeping in the background. That's my air cleaner. All right. So now we're going to wait for this to cure so we can add our next layer. Fun, huh? Yep. So I will see you guys when it's time for that step. See you then. All right. So time for next step. So I have 100 ml of my 1-to-1 resin here that I have mixed up, and I am going to add 1 drop of sky blue. There we go. Again, just to tint the resin slightly, nothing major, just to give it, again, a little personality. So I'm going to make up a little bit more, and I'll be right back. Okay, I've made up another 2 ounces here. And although it might be cute just to leave it with the turtles with their little heads poking out of the water, I actually want these to be functional coasters, so I'm not going to do that. So in this 2 ounces, I'm just going to add a couple of drops of my rainbow, actually 3 drops, because that's what came out. And get that mixed in. Get a tiny torch, get rid of some bubbles. Again, I'm not really worried about some bubbles because, again, water. So we'll let these cure, and I will see you guys for the demold. See you then. Here they are. I went ahead and demolded them just because you've already seen the top of them, so there you go. There's our little turtles. And from the side, very cute. So if you're wondering why I added the sand in with the resin instead of putting the sand down first and then pouring the resin over it, this is the reason why. Because if you add the sand to the resin, then it has a chance to get, fully saturated by the resin, and you don't have any dry spots or anything and have your sand fall off the bottom. So that's the reason why. Now, finishing your edges, because I did this backwards and I didn't dome it, I do have some edges, that need to be addressed. And you have several options. You can either use a deburring tool or craft knife. You can use, if you don't have that, you can use a nail file. If you have that, and just, file it going away from the surface so it goes the opposite direction. I'm going to be using scissors. So just regular old plain household scissors. And just very lightly go around and take off that raised edge. Because I figure everybody's got scissors. And you can see I'm just taking very light cuts, very light. Just enough to take off that, that little raised edge. So there they are, all trimmed up and ready for coasting. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. And again, I thank you all so much for being here every single time. I really do appreciate it. And I hope to see you again on the next one. Take care, guys. Cheers.